everybody, another awesome experiment and test. I changed the code here in this C# application, here in this area, here. Also, I changed this Arduino file. This is the folder for C# here, and inside it, as you can see, I have a backup 1 and a backup 2 from previous version of the code when I didn't implemented this input element here. So right now I've added that, and because I've added that, I had to change the Arduino code as well to serve this C# element that I'm having here, the code in it. So right now, if I'm going back up here, I've added a new pin 6, and I set it as an input. The rest of them they remained as before as outputs. So I have only one input for the moment, and you can probably see in the video that flashing, that is an oscillator that I have it for a very long time, is made with a 555 in it, and it's having a knob, and I can change the frequency, how fast it can blip. That's the input from that oscillator, is exactly on this pin 6 that you are seeing it here, and it is there. Is a yellow wire from it is coming there. To deal with this input pin, here in the code, so this was the previous code, the easy code for sending data. As you can see here, send output to Arduino pin from when I'm receiving it from C#. But in this other half of the code, the first half is dealing with input. You see, the input that is flashing there. So here, read the input pin number from Arduino. And this is sending an output to Arduino pin number, whatever I'm choosing there. So in this case, I'm using only one single input pin from Arduino, and it's pin 6. You can see it here on this line. So input 1, which is an int, is reading if it's 1 or 0, this 6, if it's high or low, pretty much. And if this input 1 is high or 1, print input is 1 on the serial port, and else print 0. So that's it, because it's having two states, is either 1 or 0, and that's it. Pretty much is that easy. But to make it this kind of easy, I had to run in circles. Actually, this was the easy code. I had other more harder than this code to deal with, especially in C#. And here is a line for the pause button. When I'm clicking the pause button, I'm having this button here. When I'm clicking it, and I had a lot of problems with it to actually implement it, and then I figured it out how. And my friend from Arduino forums, he suggested actually to send data here in Arduino file, and from here, from Arduino file, to transmit back, and this C# to take it, to receive it, something like that. I kind of understood it. It's working perfectly, actually, but not exactly. I will tell you what is going on. I will demonstrate right now. Enough talking, more working, right? As you see here, it changed. The baud rate didn't change. It remains selected to 9600. But here on COM ports, it changed. It was somewhere here, but it changed as the last one. And I changed the code myself here. Yeah, select baud rate. Select COM5 automatically. So this, I changed it to open directly, not to click myself every time I'm running this program. That's a little automatization that I did there. So okay, let's see it running, and it's opening automatically on COM5. So let's do this part again to show you that, you see, when I'm clicking this pins on and off, is actually doing the same stuff as before, but let's clear everything. And when I'm clicking this, it should have, yeah, one is okay, so it is working actually. When I'm clicking play, now it's starting to show me a bunch of stuff, and I will not let it run, because if it's running too much, is filling up all this stuff, and it's not good. Let me clear that and do it like this very quickly. I'm stopping it and playing it very quickly. Pack, you see, and I let it run a little bit. I let it barf all this stuff that is here, and if you are paying attention, here is 3 zeros, here is only 2 ones, again 3 zeros, only a single one, 2 zeros, 3 zeros, let's see, yeah, here 2 zeros, and here is 3 ones. You see, it's whatever, you know, you see here 2 zeros and here 2 ones. Sometimes I'm getting only 1 0, sometimes. So it's not running in the same time with the oscillator speed that I'm having right now, pulsing, I don't know, 1 hertz per second, 1 bit per second probably, or 2 bits per second, or 1.5 bits per second probably, who knows. But it's not doing it in parallel with that, in synchronicity with that. That was the main issue that I really wanted to add into this code. But this is, you know how it's called, is the cherry over the cake. This is, I'm asking a little bit too much, and I know I can do it, but for the moment, for today, I had enough to figure out how to actually implement the this input receiving code. So I had to deal and to fight with this part. to make it right. And also with this play pause button as well, I had to fight a little bit to actually find where the hell should I implement it, what should I put in it, and this was the hardest part when I had to send actually an empty string. Pretty much I'm sending only the beginning and the end character of this serial that, if you remember from my last video, well, here you see this start marker and end marker. So when it's saying this, it's starting to acknowledge whatever it is inside. It's starting to compare. The program is running pretty much when it's seeing this start marker, and after it's seeing this symbol or character, he knows is the end marker and is stopping considering any other characters that are coming after this element. So that's what I did here in this code. I'm pretty much throwing a zero or null or void, whatever you want to call it, or empty string, only starting and only the ending character, and that's it. And I had to actually test probably 20 lines of codes until I figured it out that this is the thing it should work with. And I'm still not very sure if this is absolutely correct, because that guy didn't give me any helping hand anymore. He did for other things, but not for this specifically. He probably wanted to see me how I'm thinking, to check me if I'm thinking. Yeah, so this was very, very hard to figure it out. Now, after I figured it out, I had to understand how to actually put it in practice to make it do what I wanted to do. Because it was without this thing here, this Boolean variable that I'm having here is activated. Without this all shebang that you are seeing here is not working correctly, is always barfing all those numbers, indifferent if I'm clicking all these buttons. So if I'm clicking one button, you see, if I'm clicking one button like this, it will output whatever. But if I'm leaving it, actually this is what it's doing without the functionality. If I'm clicking this, let me pause it now and show you. You see, it is outputting whatever I'm clicking that button, but in between is barfing all this. It's telling me that it's receiving input. I'm receiving input. I'm receiving input, and it's barfing everything there. And so that was the problem, the major problem of the code. I had to deal with this barfing all the time. So this is what is doing. All this code is doing is dealing with that. Is actually making happening that play and stop thing to, And also here in the very beginning, I don't. If I'm pressing the button, is actually starting to do its job, and when I'm pressing again, is stopping and starting again, and so on. So it's doing exactly the right thing. This marker is the pause. You can see it here on this line, more specifically here. So that's what is getting there. And pretty much that's it. I had to go back and forth in these two programs languages, in C# language and in this Arduino language. It's not really a big deal, but it's a little bit over the years. I don't do it every day, so I got a little bit tired. It drained my energy a little bit, paying extra attention to everything. It's fun, actually. It's quite nice, but when stuff is not working, it's not that nice. And you have to resolve bugs that you have no idea where they are coming from and where is their source. And you have to guess big time. Maybe it's that, maybe it's the other shit, maybe it's the other shit. Fucking hell. So that's the big problem, especially in Arduino, because here in Visual Studio, and that's the main reason I stick with Visual Studio and with C# in particular, is that I'm getting a lot more easier hints about the errors, where there are provenience and the root of the problem. I can see it faster here in this language, in this C# language. Way more faster than in Arduino, unfortunately. I didn't work too much in Arduino. I'm not that experienced with Arduino. But because it's a C language, it's the same. They have a quite a similar mentality of operation. So another thing is that I also changed. You see, I'm actually specifying that is an input, that I'm receiving an input. And here in the output, here I'm specifying, dude, you are getting an output. And here in the, let me run it again, play pause. So here is an input, and I clearly specify it. And this was a game changer when you have it very, very clear what is what, And this is an output. You see here on the bottom. Yeah, it's very nice to have very distinctive labels, or so that's an input, that's an output. I know the history of it, what it did, and what I pressed, and yeah, it's so right now what I did here is code management a little bit, and I clean the code and I make it a little bit better than it was before. That's the point. Unfortunately, I couldn't make that functionality in the same rhythm, in the same speed with the input speed. To turn on when the input is high, pretty much to give me here an input 0 only when it's 0, and only 1 0, not multiple zeros, and only 1 1 when is the first one, when is the first high, when the pin is high the first time, and not multiple ones. That's the idea. So I couldn't make it yet, but if I'm putting my mind to it, in the end I can do it, but it will take some time and effort to actually implement it. But until now, until this point, what the major thing that I did, and that I'm actually a little bit proud, is that I managed to implement two elements, two major, very important elements: an output from C# through Arduino board directly communicating through serial commanding those LEDs, those ones, and that one. So transmitting data from C# directly, and also the same principle also directly to receive data from the input there. Unfortunately, I'm not very happy with with all these inputs, but the way I'm receiving them. But that's another story for another movie probably. Okay, pretty much this is it. Thank you very much for everything, and see you later. All right, and this is the circuit diagram. I'm having 5 volts powering this variable oscillator with the 555 in it. That's the little transformer. There is the white one, and that's the wire, and it's coming here. And because I'm having a very close together plug one after another, I had to make sure I'm not making a short there. So I put the negative here and the positive there on their respective and the correct wires. And this is the signal wire. So it's having 3 wires, positive and negative 5 volts. And here is the signal wire from this little device that is variable. See, this is very slow, and this is faster and way very super fast. This is slow again. It's very practical. Instead, you can do the same thing what I'm having here. Instead of this oscillator, you can get a wire and put it manually to 5 volts and to negative and to 0 volts, and do it like that manually. Or a switch or a button, or pressing a button and switching between 2 rails, a button with a resistor on it. So this is the line on pin 6, is next in line. The next pin here on Arduino is pin 6, and this is the wire from the oscillator. I could put this wire directly there, but is this wire in the way, and it was a little, and this is quite stiff. These wires are a bit stiff, and they didn't let me, and I was afraid to make a big nasty short there, and I didn't want that. I don't have any protection for short circuit for this circuit that I'm having inside, and I made a short one time and I burned a 555, and I had to fucking replace it from underneath what is there, and what is there is not pleasant. It's not nice inside. It's very hard to reach and to desolder and to resolder. Yeah, it's entire okay. That's it. This is the circuit, and I hope you are happy. So it's the same output circuit as before. It's the same 4 wires is coming into the 4 positive pins. All these pins are together linked through all these links. Here is barely visible this 10 kilo resistor. You can barely see it, but it's there, and it's coming into this pin here, and is connecting through this line to this little link into this negative wire. Now I can show you that is actually the 4th pin. 1, 2, 3, and this is the 4th pin. You see, is the ground. And it's also showing there. It's written there somewhere. All right. Thank you very much, and see you later. And goodbye from your favorite artist electronist, Mr. Q12 here. Bye, and happy holidays, because it's the end, nearly the end of the year 2024. The day is 27 of the 12th month. All right. Bye from your favorite artist electronist, Mr. Q12. Bye. Bye.